Penn State pulled off one of the best hires of the offseason, bringing Andy Kotelnicki in from the Kansas Jayhawks. I'm going to tell you, Penn State people, from a West Virginia perspective, why that was such a great hire and why he could be the missing link for this year's 2024 Penn State Nittany Lions. We're going to talk about that right after this word from our sponsor. This episode of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com, or you can come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you.
This is for Cameron.
What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. This is another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. This is going to be a reaction type video, although it's a little late. It's the off season. Obviously, the first game of the season for both Penn State and West Virginia is Penn State and West Virginia. And one thing West Virginia fans are intimately associated with as far as our knowledge of this football game and exactly what's going to happen on the offensive side of the ball will be Andy Kotelnicki. And this is a guy I think could be the missing link for the Penn State Nittany Lions on the offensive side of the ball. And I'm going to tell you a few reasons why. Number one, he's not afraid to use a two-quarterback system. And you guys have two really good Q quarterbacks in Drew Aller and Bo Prabula. I wouldn't count Prabula out, and I apologize if I'm saying this last name wrong, guys. I would not count him out in the race this offseason. He's an elite athlete at the quarterback spot. He can sling it around as well. But his legs are really what makes him dangerous, similar to Garrett Green, but he's faster than Garrett Green on top-end speed-wise. Andy Kotelnicki thrives with these type of players at his disposal. And you want to talk about up in the ante, now he gets two tight ends that are both really elite players in Warren and Theo Johnson. And these are two guys that are matchup nightmares. They're both extremely good athletes. Consider them top half of the Big Ten type tight ends. And then you add in some of the additions Penn State has made on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, they keep Lambert Smith. But then you add the Ohio State transfer in Fleming, and you really start to put together a mix here for Andy Kotelnicki to do what he does. And, oh, by the way, don't forget about Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. Couple that with the fact that the interior of Penn State's offensive line, you want to talk about Nelson, you want to talk about Dawkins, you want to talk about Wormley. Those are guys that are proven starters at the Power 5 level. They have produced in the running game for these two guys. And really, it's all about bringing the tackles along, right, for you guys. So I think you start to look at that and think, okay, if the tackles come along for Penn State, and we both know, they've got immensely talented players there ready to step up, what can this Penn State offense look like? Well, I can tell you a couple of things from the West Virginia perspective why you should be extremely happy you have a guy like Kotelnicki on your side if you don't already know. First of all, he's somebody you fear playing against. I think I feared the Kansas offense. I was so glad they weren't on the schedule this year, guys. I'll never forget the first time we got a taste of him, really. And it was not this past season, but the year before. And Kansas was extremely smart in the way they approached the West Virginia game. We played them in week 2, and what was basically the second week of their season. And their first game was against an opponent that was overmatched. It was like an FCS team, somebody they felt like they were going to beat. And so they not only didn't put anything on tape, they didn't even run the same offense, guys. They ran a completely spread out passing attack against this team, won the game handily. And West Virginia not knowing they looked at the Buffalo film and saw the kind of stuff they did there, but not knowing what they were going to do at Kansas with the talent that they had assembled. and boy, were we in for a surprise. So obviously, West Virginia plays Kansas at home, and they absolutely lit us up. That really crazy kind of option style that they like to run. That's kind of the beginnings of it was against West Virginia. I'm going to go back a couple years and watch that game. And they absolutely ripped us apart on the offensive side of the ball. This is a really, really tricky guy that is not afraid to take chances. And I want to know from the Penn State faithful, do you guys think Andy Kotelnicki is the missing piece to the Penn State Nittany Lions? Obviously, the bulkier defense returns next year. You look at it, Dennis Sutton, Vanover, Ellis, Zard, Durant, Beeman on the interior are all back. Lyons, Fisher, Sam linebacker, Rajas, and Lucha. Mike, you got King. Obviously, he's back. Carter, Miller, Winston, Reed, Harris, Mack at nickel again. And you start to look at this roster and how complete it is. And as obviously a top four team in the Big Ten, which is saying something considering probably Oregon, Michigan, and Ohio State are the three teams, at least right now, that you'd probably put ahead of Penn State. But I think Penn State is definitely you can make an argument for them to be anywhere from 1 to 4. And Kotelnicki, could he be the missing piece? I'm curious to know how Penn State fans and alums would react to that question. Let me know in the comments, guys. As always, don't forget to subscribe to Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. Promised you guys last year I would do more Penn State content because we're playing each other a couple years in a row. I'm finally be able to do enough research to feel educated enough to at least talk about them a little bit. Of course, I'm not going to be perfect. Let me know if I made any mistakes with names or anything like that down below. I'll try to rectify that for the next video. I have a bunch of Penn State videos planned here for the next couple of weeks. So I'm hoping to get some Penn State peeps over here on my side, on the West Virginia side of the equation. And hopefully you guys will watch this West Virginia content as well so that I can help better prepare you for the Mountaineers' upcoming 24 season. I think it's going to be one hell of a clash between the Mountaineers and Nittany Lions. So, like I said, Kotelnicki probably the missing piece, in my opinion. I think if I had to predict right now, I think he bumps you guys up 30, 40 spots in the offensive rankings, if not more. He is that good of a coordinator, guys. Obviously, Franklin doesn't bring him in if he's not good to Penn State. Penn State gets all the good coordinators. But I really think Kotelnicki is one of those guys. He may be there 1 year before he gets a head coaching job because of what he did at Kansas, guys. That's the hardest resurrection in football. It's been proven, right? We're talking about Group of Five, Power Five, you name it. Name a tougher job to win at Kansas. And you had all-time greats there, guys that have had great success. Charlie Weiss, Les Miles. No. Bring in freaking Andy Kotelnicki, Lance Leipold. Obviously, nobody's leaving him out of the equation as well. But the continuity of those guys, they were together for 8+ years. And you really can't overstate what that means to an organization. And really, you can see it through the Kansas situation in spades. So I think Penn State is going to not only improve, but are going to dramatically prove and be an explosive offense. And don't be surprised to see my guy really get in this year, guys. And listen, if Drew plays like he did last year at times, under 55% completion percentage, I love the 20. I love the three picks. I love to see him get into the 30, 35 range on touchdowns. Drew doesn't have to be, Bo Nix, where he throws for over 4,000 yards because of the type of system this is. But he's going to have a lot more rushing yards in this system as well, in my opinion. Even though he's a bigger guy, he's a load to bring down. He's a lot tougher tackle than what people realize. And you mix that in, the power run game with Drew, and then you bring Babula in, and this is a guy that can obviously take it the distance. I just think that there's a lot to work with here. The tight ends, listen, man, Kotelnicki loves tight ends. He used them very well at Kansas, guys. And I really do think this is going to be a huge ad for you guys. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Just wanted to talk about Kotelnicki a little bit, get my feet wet with this. We're going to be talking a lot more about Penn State as we go. I think you guys are still being overlooked and disrespected just a little bit. We'll see how that works. Just looking at some Josh Pate stuff. There's a lot of people have a lot to say about Penn State, and listen, a lot of it's based on the past. So we'll see how that rolls, guys. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to come back as always. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Share this with your Penn State peeps if you don't mind, and keep coming back. This has been another edition of Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. This episode is over. I am out.